How we doing? This is Fox back again for Sound Design Tutorials. Working my way through these requests still. This one I am doing today was through my Facebook again. It's by Mads K. I hope I pronounced that right. It's for a track by the Beatangers and it's called Niggerhoo and it's the original mix. It's a deep house bass again. This is the track. There'll be a link in the description so you can get here to compare it to the sound that I am making. It's not perfect, this one. It was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. It had a lot of bright harmonics and then it was still very deep. So I've had to actually do it in 2 layers. It's pretty close. It's not perfect. It's not the best one I've ever done, but still good enough. See what you think. Yeah, this is it anyway. This is it with a little beat and everything that I've made. This is the 2 basses on their own. Very percussive, very staccato, but still nice and deep, but with some higher harmonics. As I say, there's a lot going on in this, so if I rush through, you're going to have to play it back or download this patch that is free for you to download in the description. So we are going to initialize this. If I can remember how. There we go. I'll mute the sub layer for now. So Oscillator 1 I kept on a saw wave. I pitched it up 1 octave. I'll just show you the notes that I've got going on here, so if you want to make it yourself. I think they're quite low. Yeah, I'm playing them at B, C2, C1 and B0. So if you're trying to make it yourself, that's how you're going to have to pitch the notes to correspond with the octaves and stuff that I'm going up or down. So yeah, I pitched it up 1 octave, Oscillator 1. 12 voices unison, make it nice and loud. Change the random to reset. That means all the voices are going to start at exactly the same point. It makes it loud again. Detune them slightly. Around about 9. And I pulled the width down slightly just to keep it quite centered. Not all the way, probably about 50%. Volume on full. At the minute I've only got Oscillator 1 going into a filter, which is a low pass filter. This is my own initial patch that I'll set up. Yours will probably look different, but make sure Oscillator 1 is highlighted. The low pass 24 we want to change to a 12 actually. The volume on full for the filter going out, just pull it back slightly to around about 70. So Oscillator 1 is going into filter 2 and then out, not being affected by anything else at the minute. We also have sub Oscillator 1 going into filter 1. This one I changed to a narrow pulse. Semitone for this was dead center. So 0. The volume for this pretty much the same as Oscillator 1. Just a tad back, about 86%. This narrow pulse is what giving it the rasp, the rasp that you can hear even before we apply the filter envelope. We're also going to have Oscillator 2 going into this filter as well. We're going to do something with filter 2 later on. We're going to create a little bit of a noisy tick at the start of the sound, but this one is going to be a saw wave. We're going to have 8 voices unison on this one. Change this to reset as well, so they all start at the same point. Volume dead center for this one. We're going to detune these also, but slightly bit more, around about 30%. So Oscillator 1, Oscillator 2 and sub Oscillator 1 all going into filter 1. Keep this on octave 0, don't pitch it up or down. We're going to pull this one to about 50% stereo width as well because it's a bass patch, or centering-ish the sound. That's pretty much it for the basic oscillators part. We're going to do a filter envelope now, which is how you make pretty much every single deep house bass there is. And we're going to pull the starting position for the cutoff down to about 46%, 47%. Real deep, you're not going to hear hardly anything because we've obviously, it is a low pass filter. Only the lows are coming through, but we've pulled it down. We're going to use an envelope to open this up. By default, mod envelope 1, which is this, mod 1, corresponds to this green, this blue light here for the 1, is already mapped to the cutoff. Anything in these sort of lighter grey boxes underneath these are already assigned to it. So you've already got an LFO 1 or 2 you can choose assigned to the cutoff. Mod envelope 1 or 2 you can choose to the cutoff. We want to use 1. We want it to open the filter up around about 80%. We want no sustain, we want no attack or the fastest attack possible, which is none, and we're going to control the length of the note or how long it takes to close the filter back up with the decay. And just above 30%, about 33%. We're going to make it a bit more plucky as well, just by setting up the amp envelope. I have the release. Tiny bit of attack so the notes don't click, no sustain, and the decay on 50%. In this MIDI clip, I'll just show quickly these two higher notes. The velocities are slightly lower. The velocities are on, doesn't tell me in Ableton. I thought it did. It's around about 3/4 compared to full. I wanted the higher harmonics, some extra higher notes to give it that sort of raspy edge, but I didn't want them to be so loud. So the velocity is down. Turn the velocity on full. That means that velocity is now controlling amp 1, which everything on this side is going into. Anything that comes into filter 1 goes through amp 1. Just a simple pluck at the minute, nothing untowards, nice and straightforward. What else do we need to do? We'll do the effects at the end. We've set up the velocity. We are going to go over to Oscillator 2, Sub Oscillator 2, which corresponds to this. I changed this to a white noise. This is going to give us a little clicking at the start of the notes, which I noticed it had. It was hard to tell whether it was from a hi-hat or whether it's from the synthesizer used to make the sound, but I chose to add it in anyway. So we've got a white noise source coming out, Sub Oscillator 2 now, volume. We need to click it on so it's coming out of filter 2. Change this to a low pass 24. Want to use that same plucky envelope, mod envelope 1, to control the cutoff for this again. Pull it down to about the same point. The mod destination we want all the way around, as opposed to sort of 80%. That's the only reason why I didn't add it in this section over here, is because I wanted to have the mod envelope flick it all the way around. Bit of resonance is going to help bring it out as well. Just a nice little hissy hit at the start of the notes. We're going to change the engine mode to dirty. Okay, still sounds quite static, quite boring at the minute. We're going to make this sound a lot better now by adding some effects. We're going to use the distortion. We're going to use the foldback, which is my favourite one for this. We'll pull the mix down to 0 and then push it up just slightly to 8. The amount, I didn't have much either, 5.8. The tone was around about 30%. You're not going to hear that having much effects, but I'm going to use that plucky envelope we've set up, which is mod 1 in the source box, to control the distortion mix. Click it, drag it on, push it around to about 44%. What this is going to do, the same thing, same way it's opening and closing the filter quick, it's going to open the distortion mix, so the distortion is affecting the high part, and then as the filter closes, it's going to close the distortion off. Everything's looking good at the minute. I've just turned the overall output up. Sometimes when you apply 2 filters and a lot of effects, you can really dull down the sound. That's how I had it. that down a bit. Yeah, the other effect I had was a compressor in this order: distortion, compressor. I think I actually used a preset to start with. Let's try. I think I started with the acid preset, and I turned the delay off, and then I started changing things. So we'll put these back to how we had them. The compressor, I think I kept how it was. Yeah, so I chose the acid preset to start. I've kept the compressor how it was, and also the EQ how it was. Don't be afraid to use these presets. Some of them are brilliant. They give you ideas of how to use things. As I say, I turned the acid one on. It was working well. Just wanted to turn the distortion amounts down. So that's easy. Acid preset in the effects section. Just turn the settings down on the distortion like I've already done. What the EQ's done there, it's boosted the bass frequencies a bit, and it's also boosted the mids, which has brought out the sort of distortion on the sound. I've got a couple of outboard effects we'll go through right at the end. I also used that mod envelope 1, the flicky envelope, to control the Oscillator 1 detune, which is this one. Again, same reason, pushing the voices out to the start of the notes, the real high part of the sound, and then closing them back down as it goes towards the lower end. Hand actions help you understand, or make me look like a twat. But yeah, Oscillator detune. Let's pull that down a bit actually. It's better. We'll set the amp envelope up. The envelope for the noise source, again, virtually same as the first one, just a little bit more plucky. That's it. It doesn't sound like much at the minute, but when we mix it together with the bass patch that I've done, the lower part of the sound, they go together really well. So that was it. That's how I set the first layer up. I then needed a real deeper sort of subby layer. This is the patch I'm going to give you away. The sub layer is ever so simple. I'm quite sure you're going to be able to make that yourself. For that I used Hive again. I'll turn it on and solo it. It's very deep. You're going to need some speakers or proper studio monitors or some headphones to hear that probably. All it is, 4 voices of a sine wave, 1 voice of no, I've got Oscillator 1 and sub Oscillator, sorry, yeah, so just dealing with this left part of the sound. 4 voices of a sine wave, octave 0. The sub Oscillator, kept it where it comes as standard, -11, -12. It's always an octave down, that's why they call it a sub Oscillator. I'll change that one to a square. All I've got is a low pass filter, no envelope or anything. I've just pulled the low pass filter down to cut out the frequencies, about 74%. I've got some distortion in there as well. I'll show you with and without distortion. It does make a difference. Sort of smudges it all together and makes it sound really deep. So these two together now, as I say, I'm not going to give this bass patch, it's not worth it. You'll be able to make that. 4 voices of sine wave and the sub oscillator, a bit of filter. So with these both together now, first patch is taking care of the high parts of the sound. Second patch is taking care of the sub part of the sound. Nice and easy, nice and straightforward. To say it wasn't perfect, but definitely usable and a lot like the one what was shown to me. So yeah, with that drum loop again. Simple way to stretch the notes out. If we go back to the first Hive patch, just increase the decay on the envelope. Make it as plucky or as sustained as you want. But yeah, for me, that for now, that is me. That was a request I did for that chap. I've turned it off now, but yeah. Check me out, Facebook, Google+. If you got any requests, hit me up on my Facebook page. There's a link in the description. There will be something else I'm adding to my descriptions on all videos from now on. My Tone 2 Nemesis sound pack is out, or will be out today or tomorrow. It's a job that I did directly for Tone 2. There's 201 presets for Nemesis based on electro, complextro, EDM sort of styles. Really, really good. Head over to Zone 2 and check it out if you have Nemesis and you want to buy that. Yeah, thanks for watching. More to come.